what does success look like to me? What am I driving towards? And those things are very personal. It's amazing what you can accomplish when there's trust in the room. And when you remove that trust, it's remarkable how inefficient you can become.
And when you've got guys around you who are buying into your vision and pushing towards the same thing, it's energizing.
Well, good morning. How are you doing, Josh?
A little tired.
Oh, man.
We had our staff Christmas party last night. So.
Oh, good. How'd it go?
It was fun. It's weird, very different. It's crazy the turnover my company's had in the last year. But
right.
So lots of like newer, younger faces. But,
okay.
You know, it's a good night. We just went bowling and had some pizza and hung out. It was a good time.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, I was hoping to pop in, and I was on the road coming back from a job out west, and it was a late one. And I'm feeling it. It reminds me, there's, The Far Side. Are you too young for The Far Side?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, jeez.
I don't recognize it.
One of the most classic comic strips of all time. And they just have like abstract, weird stuff. And they have this one, and they're all just single frame comic strips. They're not like strips. They're just like one frame. And Gary Larson was the guy that wrote them. Fantastic mind. Very quirky. But there was one that was my favorite. There was a guy laying on the desert floor, and there's just arrows sticking out of him everywhere. And he says, "Clem, I hurt, but it's a good kind of hurt." Sorry. Twisted. But yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like I hurt, but it's good.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's good work. Oh, man. So this is Christmas time. And so Merry Christmas to everybody. And for those of you who have been with us for this journey to this point, thank you so much for coming along for the ride and being part of the conversation. We really appreciate it. And for those of you who are new, welcome. And we appreciate it. And if you guys think over the next season, if there's people in your life that would appreciate what we're doing, make sure to give a recommend. We're new. We need support. and
yes, we do.
And it's not like we have massive goals as far as like what we want to achieve. What we are hoping is that people that need the kind of encouragement and thoughts and discussions that we're having will find us, and that we'll be able to, be a passenger seat rider in your vehicle when you're going out to work, when you're making decisions, something to fall back on, or just something thought-provoking and hopefully at least a little bit entertaining or interesting. And so, and these are conversations, honestly, that we would have regardless. Yep. And so the nice thing about doing this on mic is that we get to be more diligent about meeting together and chatting about things, which has been awesome. And I think really beneficial for me. I know, it's been a good run to this point.
The thing that inspired this is I really wanted to bring what have been some of the most life-giving conversations in my career and my life that you and I have had over the last 10 years. And it's just like the amount of times we left breakfast in the morning, and it's just like, man, how many people need to hear the conversation we just had this morning? Yeah. So it's fun to actually finally be doing it.
Yeah, and it's hard to eat the eggs right in front of the microphone. Yeah. And so other than that, it's pretty much the same. It's
very close. Yeah. Very close.
No, it's been good. And I think there are a lot of voices out there, and there's a lot of awesome content. Like I've been listening on my ride in last night. I was listening to this podcast, Rule of Life, which I just think is phenomenal. It's some guys from down mostly in the States. Actually, there's a few people from different places in Africa. They have a kind of revolving cast, and it's multiple seasons, and just brilliant insights, just fantastic thoughts for me. And it's neat when you find content online that speaks your language. And so we recognize, I have some buddies, they're like, yeah, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, what do you think? Well, I'm not really a business guy. I'm like, you know what? So be it. Like that's great. And then there's others who are like, man, like there's nothing exactly like this out there. And I feel like, we're talking the same language, and it's been a real benefit to different people and people that I don't expect. Yeah. I think that we're aimed more at business owners. And then I have a tradesman that's just like running the tools in a local company. And he's like, man, I found you guys online and I'm loving it. And I'm like, okay. He says, I've been thinking about starting a company. Don't know if I ever will, but it's helping me make some decisions and thoughts. I'm like, that's perfect. So
yeah, that's what we're going for.
Totally is. And so being right close to Christmas, I think that it would be a neat conversation to have as far as how our faith fits into our work.
Oh, okay.
Because Christmas is around faith, and in at the very least, it's a time for people to look beyond themselves. It's the time of the most giving. It's time of generosity. It's a time of thinking about people who are less fortunate, those types of things, hopefully. As well as maybe even equally or more importantly, the people that are close to you and that you love, and how you can show appreciation. And in my opinion, it's also, in the best sense, a time to look up, not just out, but up as well. And so we have intentionally not made this podcast about our faith. However, our faith is a core part of both your and my life, and also our other partners in Forge. Like, we're all people who love Christ. We are people who love Scripture and who are highly flawed in the process of learning. But it's a big deal to us. And so while it's not per se a Christian podcast, our faith is a big part of what we're talking about. And most of the wisdom, if there is any, that comes through comes from some kind of a background, a Christian worldview. And so, most of the things that guide us are principles that come from Scripture, sometimes filtered through other people's thoughts, sometimes filtered through our own thoughts, and not nearly always close to perfect. But it's a big deal. And so at this time of year, it's just something that's on my mind.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, the whole purpose of us doing this really comes from scriptural teachings of like giving with no expectation of return.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable and putting ourselves out there unfiltered. Yeah. Just for the sake of like, hopefully there's a message out there that people need to hear and they can learn from our failures and yeah, I don't know. I don't think without my faith background, I don't really see as much of a point to having the type of podcast that we do here, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
Because it's like the reason we're doing this is to just give our experiences and let people join the ride and learn and grow with us. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, our day jobs are not academic. They're not theologically profound. We're not, we work with our hands. We work in the business world. We work with customers. We have a lot of different emotions. I think we've been pretty candid about that. We're not, and I remember actually, some of the times when I've been most frustrated with myself have been on the job. And I've said things to myself that I probably, if I made a habit of it, my life would be different. Let's just put it that way.
That's fair.
And, and in the workplace, we are always confronted with our humanity and the humanity of people around us, which means that there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so navigating that from a place of like that we're not the final authority, but that God is the final authority, or to the best of our ability in our lives, is an interesting navigation. And it's a long journey.
Yeah.
And I find even when we're talking, I find that it's pretty simple to look back 10 or 15 years and see our issues. But the truth is we're always learning. And I think no matter what stage of life we're in, we can look back and say, yeah, in light of the guiding principles that I'm trying to follow, there's a lot of weakness.
Oh, yeah. I think for my company, like one of our core values, we have what we call AI calls it the Ridgeline 6.
Right, okay.
And number one in our core values is faith.
Right.
And it's a big part of who I am. And like, we don't even expect it through all of our stakeholders.
I was going to say, not everybody in your organization has, a life of faith per se.
But it is funny because like one of the core principles I find around being a man of faith is, first and foremost, we're here to serve others more so than just our own self-gain.
Yeah.
And we have lots of those people who come through our company and work for our company who, don't have faith, at least not to the level of the same type of faith that we do. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's just, so long as the values of growth and seeing wins for other people are a part of their value system, then they work well in ours.
That said, I know you guys have had a challenge if you bring in someone who, for example, if their language is really aggressively dark, I guess, or just earthy. I think that you've had an issue with that at times if they don't fit your culture very well, because customers expect a certain amount of dignity almost amongst your guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, it shows through the language, but
Right.
I mean, just their demeanor,
Right.
their approach to life, and even their mentality towards the work.
Right.
Like it shows, typically I find in our experience, it shows up in entitlement.
Okay.
First and foremost, like it's just very self-absorbed
Okay.
type of people.
Which you find just doesn't go great with your culture.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
Like in order for our culture, or for people to come in and fit in our culture, they gotta genuinely care about the customer. They gotta genuinely care about the people around them. They gotta genuinely care about the success of the company. And a true winning relationship is where somebody comes in and they get the opportunity to grow in alignment with the company.
Right. Yeah.
It's not just
Sure.
about their self-gain.
Yeah.
Which this day and age, I don't know, I'm still pretty young, but it just feels like this day and age, it's becoming more and more rare to find people who share those alignments, which is probably one of the reasons why most of my company are church-going people, because I find that's a value that's pretty common or well taught in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just
it's kind of like an underlying principle that we're not here of our own merit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you have that underlying principle, it's just more natural to share those values.
Right.
But it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't mean that we only hire church-going people.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people who don't have a walk of faith and they still share those values. They're still very
For sure.
genuinely caring for other people around them.
Absolutely.
And I love doing business with them.
Yeah.
too. Like,
Yeah. And I think that I have intentionally over my life not marketed. Okay, I don't market my company at all. But if I did, I don't market it as a Christian company. And partially that's because we have an amazing Savior, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was flawless, and he set standards and pointed a way for us to follow that is like, it takes a lifetime of dedication and surrender essentially, and still we never measure up to that place, which is why we need grace that he's given.
Yeah.
And so that's clear, but for me, I don't want to lead with that as far as from a marketing standpoint. I just want to hopefully live in such a manner that people are like, "Oh yeah, that's not surprising. That makes sense." Like, it would be weird to me if you listened to this podcast to this point and didn't have an idea that we were people that love Scripture and love God.
Yeah.
Like, that would be sad to me.
Yeah, that would be weird. And in terms of I actually very uncomfortable with the idea of people actually marketing themselves as a Christian company.
Yeah.
Because ultimately we're not worthy
that's just it.
Carry that banner.
Like, we're going to let people down.
Yeah,
is my
we're going to
thinking.
screw up. We're all sinners. We all fail. So those
people
who
are going to be
market
like,
themselves,
really? You're that guy and you've done this? Well, yeah, man.
It's kind of like the people when you don't see this much in Canada, but you go to sporting events, and and you get the people out with their blowhorns and their picket signs condemning people to hell, and it's just like, you're also in the same boat, like going against Scripture. Like when you just go out and you just broadcast that you are the way, the truth, and the light. Yeah. When it's like, no, that's Christ. Yeah. We're just trying our best to hit that mark, and we never will. Yeah. But, we're just here to give our all, do our best, and center our life around those principles. Yeah. So.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about the scriptural principles that have been massively impacting in my career is just the overall work ethic. Like, there's just a certain expectation that we pull weight, that we're saved by grace. So there is this kind of neat component of certain things that we just can't achieve no matter what, because we're not going to be good enough, perfect enough to redeem ourselves. Yeah. But there's this work ethic that's attached to the Christian faith and scriptural teaching that is fascinating to me. It's like in my blood. I come from many, many generations of Mennonite people, so really hardworking people. They're known this way. Typically reliable people as well, which is, and again, there's always exceptions, but as a rule, and there's certain traits, they're reliable and extremely hardworking. That trait's just in me.
Yeah.
Like yesterday, working hard into the night with my headlamp on in, minus 15 degrees, which, a lot of people don't want to be outside at all. And just giving her with working with metal too on steep. It's like, there's something about that for me that's just really satisfying. And I think it comes from those roots of saying, like this, there's an element of suffering involved in that. And I think that from what I see from the teachings of Christ, there's an element of embracing a certain amount of suffering. Like I think that there is it's not all about just an easy road. It's not all
sacrifice.
There's sacrifice. There's, and what I do in large part for my family. And so for me, that's worthwhile sacrifice. Like it's not a problem, but just intrinsically being out there. And like when I was saying I hurt, but it's a good kind of hurt. Like I honestly feel that way. Mm-hmm. Like I'm out there. I'm like, yeah, this is hard. This is challenging, and it somehow makes me feel closer to God.
Yeah.
I feel like there's these moments like last night, under the stars on a farm, there's nobody around me. I'm just working away. It just feels like there's pushing past myself, I guess.
Yeah.
Which just feels amazing.
Well, you're seriously one in a million people who would even attempt to do that. Like, I don't think me or anyone in my crew would be out till 9:00 at night on a metal roof in the winter. So that kind of makes you special. But I mean, that really chalks up
or the opposite of special. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, this is true. But I think it really comes down to Romans 12 principle. It's just like our life is a living sacrifice. We're supposed to live our lives beyond just ourselves, but for the kingdom and for the people around us. And sacrifice is hard, and it comes with an element of suffering.
Yeah.
But the reward in that, not just like obviously there's a reward in heaven waiting for that sacrifice, but like you said, the reward is almost instant. I feel that too.
Yeah.
When you sacrifice at any level, whether it's through work or generosity or serving at any capacity, I find that reward is almost instantaneous or next day. Like you look back at the day before and you just feel, I don't know if it's a dopamine thing or something supernatural, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, sometimes in the moment we get past ourselves in a way that's really gratifying because you're just because then when you look back, you're like, oh, that's weird because my natural inclination would not be to go in that direction because I think we're naturally selfish. And this is the interesting thing, and I like to juxtapose kind of my belief system against something like some people say Ayn Rand and some people say Ayn Rand, but she wrote Atlas Shrugged, and she was a thinker in the early 1900s. She was born in Russia. She wrote largely for the American public, but her premise was that from a humanistic standpoint, if everyone was just truly selfish, like 100% selfish, then everything is fine. Because if I'm really selfish, that means that I will work with you in such a way that you will give me what I need, but therefore I need to give you what you need or want, however you want to look at that. Because ultimately, if we're both completely selfish, we know how to interpret each other and we know how to work together and get things done. And her idea was in the industrialized world, that was the way things were going to proceed and improve.
Do you think that's plausible?
It's a huge thought process. And you think about it, how many people that we do work for that we intuitively understand this is the platform that they're coming from. This is the mindset they're coming from. So we make sure that when we're working for them, that they will end up with value or at the very least perceived value, because if not, then they will fight.
I don't know. I would have to think about that deeply, but my first feeling on that is it would just be pure chaos.
Well,
because there's just too many people out there who just want everything for themselves, and they would take advantage of every single person they could. And like I don't know.
So her premise was that ultimately you still need other people, and so because of that, you're going to do what's best for them because it's also best for you.
Yeah, but I don't know. Around selfishness comes lies and deceit, and everyone would always be trying to take advantage of each other.
And this is, and you know, it's interesting that you push back, because this has been my pushback. And I read this book years ago, and it gave me a lot of thought. I'm like, it's interesting, but I feel like she never took into account evil, because coming from a strictly humanistic, non-spiritual, you know, and Russia was very much that way at that time. if you take evil out of the equation, it almost makes sense.
Kind of.
But
Yeah.
the fact is that there's a lot, I mean, in all of us, there's a tendency towards a certain level of darkness.
Yeah.
And we recognize it. I recognize it in myself. I had a friend back in the day who he was a professional athlete, and I said, "What do you think about when you're racing?" He goes, "Oh, you don't want to know." And I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Okay, fair."
Okay. That's concerning.
Yeah, it was concerning. Yeah, I could tell you more. It didn't end well for him.
Oh.
But the thing was, in the very least, like there was dark places in him that were, trying to find a place to come out, I guess. And so the thing is that I think that if you take that out of the equation, then if a win-win is actually a win-win, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I just think that we're not that simple.
No. Like even the best of us have our darkest moments.
I think
we all have sin deep rooted in us.
We all need redemption.
Yeah. So I mean, the idea that society could function if everybody only focused on themselves, and you know what? That sounds awful. Like the best part about what we do is getting to sow into others. Like, why would you even do? I wouldn't do business if it was all selfish. Like,
this is interesting though, because even biologically, so my daughter is. Hey, she's defending her thesis on Monday, so this is big days. She's been giving her, it's an honorary thesis for her degree, so she's been studying, and she's officially now a scientist. But she told me the other day that her professors at university, for the most part, they talk about biology as being selfish, purely selfish, because every species is trying to look after itself. Everything else be damned, basically. And it's interesting because I was talking to her. The reason that this conversation came up is I was talking to her, and I was like, man, like every spring I'm in awe of the generosity of nature, like just in awe. Yeah. Because like where I live on my acreage, I could not tell you how many different species of plants we have. I could not tell you. It is hundreds. Yeah. And we're like way up in the north. Yeah. I mean, and this is not like, we're not in the Garden of Eden. Like we're way north. But still, every spring, it's just like there is just life. And it is insane. And I just feel this unbelievable generosity. And I just think like my interpretation of that is that our Creator is immensely generous. Yes. And she says to me, she goes, "That's funny because my professors talk of that as selfishness." And I'm like, oh. And it kind of hit me between the eyes. The same discussion, really, just from a different angle. Yeah. And I'm like, man. And so I thought about it. I'm like, okay. Like, and these are not dumb guys that are, dumb people that are teaching her. She's got a lot of really neat professors, and she's had great, she's learned a ton of stuff. Yeah. And so I don't want to dismiss the thought. And I get it in some ways. If you look at it from a certain angle, there's a selfishness in nature. Okay. But overall, that to me seems like a bleak perceptive way forward.
Man, like if you look at the function of the planet overall and how it cross-pollinates, like even different continents or like ecosystems are feeding each other. Yeah. Like it's all built around order. Yeah. And generosity. Yeah. It's like species need each other to survive in a generous manner too.
I think so.
I don't know. That's just super weird.
I feel that way. And I feel like, and this is something that we have talked about, but in business, one of the things that both you and I appreciate a ton is being around generous people and collaborating with generous people and doing work. Like, it's funny because most of the suppliers that I use, the relationship is really cool. Like when I walk in the door, like there's a smile. Like we appreciate each other. And it's not like they're not making money off of me and I'm essentially also making money off of them because we need each other in the process. We're supplying things that we need. But that's like only a piece of the relationship. There's more to it than that. Yeah. And same thing with customers. Like I look at my customers and I always tell people like we live in a small community, and if I piss off my customers, I will run into them again. Like it's not maybe, it's just a question of when, pretty much. Like in this town, if you go to Costco, you're going to see people typically
all the time.
And so and sadly for me, I don't recognize all my former customers because I just don't. I don't have that kind of a mind. Yeah. And so And so I really don't want to, walk through Costco watching my back and hoping that I don't run into so-and-so. I don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
I want to live in a generous manner that to the best of my ability, I've taken care of things. And that's not always true, because I know that sometimes there's things that happen that people just won't even tell you. They'll be like, wow, I thought you were better than that. And then they don't call me to fix it. And and this is interesting. I think we've discussed this before, but this is always when someone's criticizing another company, I'm always like, well, did you call them and let them know? Yeah. And if they say no, I'm like, well, don't complain to me if you didn't call them. Yeah. And if you called them and they made it right, then also don't complain to me, because what else can you do? We're all going to make mistakes. It's the only time that I am let down by myself is if I've been called and pointed out something and I don't do something. That's when I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, that's
and there's
huge.
been some times like that in my past, I know, but I try to keep that to a minimum.
Yeah, it's like one of the key principles in terms of partnership, brotherhood, leadership. It's like if you're not willing to call and communicate each other's flaws and try and hold accountability and build each other up, you're just doing, it's a disservice.
Yeah,
it absolutely is.
Yeah.
So going back to the generosity thing, especially in the light of Christmas.
Yeah.
I found growing up around this season, everyone, especially people, who are very religious focused.
Yeah.
In across all religions, they actually look down on Christmas.
Right.
Because they're like, oh, it's so commercialized. It's all just about getting presents. And I always looked at it, it's just like, no, I look at the holidays and I see a lot of the embodiment of what being a Christian is, where it's all about giving and being with family, community and like, okay, some people will take advantage of that. We just talked about that.
Sure.
There's people who are going to try and take advantage, but I find the overall spirit of this season really rooted in generosity.
Oh, yeah.
And I love it. I think that's why underlying everyone loves the Christmas holidays, because you go out and there's just that spirit of generosity. Yeah. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And like commercialization, I mean, that's part of the world we live in. I mean, it affects us every day, not just at Christmas. So that's just like, if we're caught by that, we're caught by it. Like, don't blame Christmas type of thing, I think. But I think that, gift giving is not everybody's language, and receiving gifts is not everybody's language. However, for those people that speak that language, what a fantastic season. But most of us, if we don't speak that language, we speak the language of time and community, or there's something in the season for everyone, in my opinion. And I think that
quality time.
Yeah, I love it. I love the lights.
Yeah.
I love that people take a little bit extra time to make something like shine.
Well, and the meals, like, honestly, dude, I'm not a gift person.
Yeah.
I hate buying gifts.
Yeah.
And so it's a sacrifice for me
I gotta
to even go do
today
that
and find something for my wife. And I know more or less, but I'm always so scared, because I'm not that she's scary in any way. I just want it to be right.
Yeah.
And geez, like,
well, it's stressful.
Oh man.
Like, some people thrive in that, and that's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's not me.
When I know, if I know, like my son just turned 15 and I just knew what he wanted, and I knew what he wanted more than he knew what he wanted. And he's playing guitar a ton right now, and he's building electric guitars, but he had just a trashy amp, and he's building, like, his current guitar is gorgeous. And so I was just like, he can't play that through a trashy amp, because even if he does an amazing job, it's not going to do it justice.
Yeah.
And so we went out and found like a really beautiful, it's still a home amp. It's not like something for performance or anything.
Yeah, not for the big stage yet.
It's a Boss, and it's beautiful. Like, it's a really good amp.
Yeah.
And man, I knew, like, as soon as he saw it, he just lit up, and that's awesome for me. Like, that process is fantastic. Anytime when I really know, then it's like, let's do this.
Yeah.
But that's pretty rare, because I'm pretty thick when it comes to this.
Yeah, so I mean, when you know, but even like going through that journey and figuring it out and doing your best.
Yeah. Like,
nobody looks at Christmas morning when their family's all opening presents and it's just like, wow, this really sucked. I really regret that I had to put this event on.
Yeah, we're sitting around the table and having, whatever. It's funny, our meal of choice was cabbage rolls when I was a kid. Like, that was our Christmas dinner. It was just kind of traditional. I couldn't tell you why, but like, we never, ever, ever had turkey at Christmas. It was just not part of our tradition.
Really?
Yeah, it was always cabbage rolls. Yeah, it's just what it was.
Love cabbage rolls.
Yeah.
We have them over the holidays.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say as a it's a turkey feast. But
yeah, that was our game. But no, and I think that, you know, the season, the lights, the decoration, the extra time, the idea of actually giving people time off work.
Yeah.
You know, like, and a lot of people are off work between Christmas and New Year's these days. Like, that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, obviously, and some people have to work right through the season. So if that's you, you know, well, I hope
God bless you.
Yeah, I hope you make the best of it. And I know, like, people like my brother-in-law and my brother, like, one drives is an engineer on trains and the other is a pilot on planes, and so their schedule has nothing to do with holidays. Like, it is what it is. And in fact, if anything, they're probably busier around that time. But in the trades, I mean, we have the choice. You don't want to be inside someone's home on Christmas if you can help it. That's not cool.
I don't think they would have you anyways. Pretty sure the door will be locked if you try and go.
And I mean, there is a certain pressure, for Pete's sake. I know when I was doing cabinets, man, so many people wanted stuff done before Christmas. Yeah. Oh, sweet mercy.
Christmas is like, the holidays are like the finish line for most people.
Yeah.
So, like, in new construction,
oh,
I hear this all the time. Yeah. One of our best buddies, Berkeley, he paints, and December is always a madhouse for him because all the builders are like, we need to get it done, they want to be in before Christmas.
It's like, give me a break.
Every year that's the milestone, is being in home for the holidays, which really shows the importance around it.
Well, and I mean, and this is the thing that I was thinking, is that you take it out of our year and all of a sudden there's a major milestone that's just gone because we use it as a marker.
Yeah.
Like, it is, seriously, it's a pin in the calendar. It's a marker. It's like, this means another year's passed.
I actually use it. And you know what I see a lot of? Because a lot of people take 1 or 2 weeks off. And I see it as a resting, pivoting point for people, which is why I think people use January 1st as a New Year's resolution.
Right. Yeah, because they've had some time to think.
Yeah, it's a new year, but it's also like,
it's the coming eggnog. Through. It's all the eggnog.
Coming through a season of generosity, abundance, and rest, and then pivoting and going into a new year.
Yeah. And what a great position.
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it.
Totally.
Like, spending time with the people you love, taking a breath, and then, like, pivoting. Yeah, absolutely.
I would actually argue you couldn't find a better recipe for your mindset for success.
Yeah.
In terms of just the Christmas holidays. Like, there's certain ingredients in that season that really set you up for success. And if you're aware of it and you pay attention to it, like, I personally, like, over the holidays, we've historically always taken 2 weeks off.
Right.
I can't sit at home for 2 weeks.
Sure.
I just can't. So I have a very easy go, and it's the same even when I go on holidays. I have to have some form of routine to keep my mind going, because I just can't do nothing.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of podcasts, do a lot of reading. I drive. I go to the gym pretty much every day. I still sleep in and take it easy and spend quality time with my family. But that, to me, is a restful season. But it's, I would argue, one of the most pivotal times of the year for my growth.
Yeah.
So that come after holidays, I'm always feeling refreshed, inspired, and ready to roll.
Well, and I think it helps you align yourself with the fact that it's not all about not all production and value comes from intense struggle.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes from, like, being in the pocket, being in the place where you're meant to be. And you often don't know if you're not in that until you take a bit of time. And you're like, wait a second, like, I'm kind of strayed from my main purpose. I'm not right in the place where I'm supposed to be. And I think from a faith standpoint, I'm always spending a bit of time over the Christmas season just talking to God and saying, God, like, that was the year. Like, where do I need to pay attention this next year as far as to make improvements?
Season of reflection.
What can I celebrate? And that's something that doesn't come naturally to me, is the celebration of what I've done right. And I don't know, but I think as I get older, I've intentionally tried to do that more, because I think, geez, like, sometimes we nail it. And if you nail it, then I think it's good to celebrate.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't nail it, but you've really given your best effort, and I mean, we celebrate that in our kids, right? Like if we see our kids and we know that they don't have a certain aptitude, but we see them just go in with all heart. I coached for a while, and I coached, some naturally talented, gifted runners and some that were a long ways from naturally talented or gifted. Mm-hmm. And I had one kid that really, like, he was never going to be a great runner. But man, like every race that he went into, he just threw himself in, and I mean, he was like back of the middle of the pack. So, we're not talking like, it's nothing to write home about, but he would come across the line fully engaged with a smile. And I'm like, you know what? That works for me.
Yeah.
Like that totally works for me. And I knew like as soon as he was out of high school, he probably wouldn't run a step again in his life, but he can look back at that saying, I gave my all and I participated. And I think that for ourselves, it's hard to recognize that. Mm-hmm. It's like, cause we know, as we get older, we know where we have aptitude, we know where we can nail it, and we know areas that we can't, but sometimes we got to fill those roles.
Yeah.
And I think doing those things to the best of our ability, I think we got to celebrate that. And I think Christmas is a time to look back and say like, hey, I still didn't do great, but dang, I did it the best I could.
Yeah. In this time of reflection, it's okay to look at the things that didn't go well and as well. You definitely celebrate your wins, but if you don't take time to reflect and see the areas that you grew, that like failure is growth and growth is a win. So if you take things from that perspective, everything's a win, even when things don't go swimmingly smooth.
I think about looking forward and looking at the next years of business that we have, and even let's just make a guess that our podcast will keep existing, that we'll keep doing this kind of thing, that hopefully we'll just see growth. Hopefully we'll see improvement, engagement, and I think meaning is something that we're all looking for in life. Mm-hmm. And I think that people that don't say they're looking for meaning are just kind of in denial. Mm-hmm. That's my feeling, at least. I think we all want meaning to some degree. And I think that I realized early is that the only way that I can have the kind of meaning that I'm looking for in my day-to-day work is to do it in such a fashion that I feel like I'm doing it for God.
Yeah.
And that's a weird statement, but it honestly keeps me going in the toughest times.
Well, and also for others around you.
Totally.
Which is
an extension of that.
Yeah. Also, that's what God calls us to do.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of my job. Like, honestly, that's why. And it took me a while to recognize this. I thought for the longest time I just enjoyed growing business.
Right.
But it actually was only in the last year or two, going through a lot of study and reading and stuff, that I recognize the fact that the best part about growing a business is seeing the people within the business grow.
Yeah.
And that is the most rewarding thing. And it's a very godly principle.
Well, yeah. And bringing value to your community, I shouldn't say most, but many of my friends are contractors, and many of them do amazing work in our community. And it's very cool because you think about it, and it's like everywhere they go, everything they touch becomes better.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty rare that they, it's my opinion that a lot of my buddies are the best contractors in town, but it's neat though. Like you look at stuff, you're like, oh man, that building's really improved. And you find out, oh yeah, buddy so-and-so is working on there, like that's exciting because what we do is productive and we're bringing value, but that alone is not enough for me. Like that alone of just like making something beautiful. And it's funny because it's actually rare that I take a picture of the work that I do after I'm done. And I have almost no before and afters. It's just not how I think for some reason. My theory has always been, but it's not actually the truth, but it's what I tell people. It's like if the current is not so much better that it stands on its own merit, not just against how bad it was before, then I don't care. Then I've missed the mark. Whatever. I think it's just I'm lazy. I just don't think about the before and after. But I just think that, making things beautiful, there's merit there. And I think it's important. Like infrastructure matters. I feel like, you don't hear a lot of sermons in church around infrastructure and building and those kind of practical, hands-on things that we do day to day too much. But I think it matters. I think that doing these things well matters.
Dude, that's should almost look up some scripture on that,
Oh,
because
there's
excellence and beauty,
totally,
that's totally a God thing.
It is.
Like, that's why, whether you take before and after pictures or not, like I'm that guy. I'm the guy. Whenever I do a job, I like to have the evidence.
Yeah.
I like to see the transformation. But like doing things with excellence and doing a fantastic job and making something beautiful, I really think that's a God component.
And it feels that way.
Yeah.
And I think that just looking back at the year, anyone who listened to the podcast early on, one of maybe fifth or sixth, number 5 or 6, something like that, was on control. And that was just after I came out of my meeting with the cardiologist to see what my season would look like. And I honestly didn't know how the season was going to play out.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I'd have the physical ability. I didn't know if the cardiologist would say, yeah, your days on the tools are over. And I was ready for that. I was prepared to pivot, but I always have wanted to do that on my own terms.
Yeah.
And of course, that's not always how life works. And so I was like recognizing that. But he looked at me and said, yeah, like, give her.
Good to
like,
go.
Just go for it. And interestingly, like, I have enjoyed my work more this year than
I've seen that in you. I've seen that every time. Like, every time I call you and you're on the job, you're just celebrating.
Yeah.
There's a true, genuine joy in you being at work.
Totally.
And that's something that I can also say that you didn't have the last couple of years.
No, because I was looking to pivot and
Yeah.
I was looking to do different things and not really valuing where I was at. And I was also mad at myself because I'd worked all my life to achieve a certain kind of standard in my company and afford myself a certain ability to charge certain amounts, etc., and kind of in that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And literally just hitting it, and I wanted to stop. And I was like, somehow having to stare in the face of, not having the choice, but being forced to stop, and then being able to come back and strangely feel like, and this is, say what you will, I felt carried by grace this year. Mm-hmm. I just felt like there was so very often I felt like, man, I don't feel like I put in my top effort, but I really got top production. And I'm like, that shouldn't be happening at my age.
And simultaneously, while you're getting top production on your jobs, you are pivoting in the ways you've always wanted to.
Well, this is just
this podcast is one of those components, but also you've been writing and editing and helping publish books.
And Jeff's book, Gridlessness, that we've been involved with, man, is doing well. On Amazon. If you guys haven't picked it up yet, I really encourage you to. It's been like, people are loving it.
Yeah.
And it's doing well.
So and you were a big part of that.
Yeah, it was fun.
What a successful year I feel like you've had.
Man, really, really much so, and really came out of left field. Like I don't feel like I there was no striving this year. I was just kind of rolling with it. I'm like, I don't know. I had some jobs lined up. They weren't actually even ideal jobs for me. Like quite a bit of metal siding, which is not really my sweet spot. Somehow, man, like I was working with the right guys. I had Big Dave beside me and we were just having a good time. My son worked with me quite a bit, which I loved. Mm-hmm. And then I also spent a lot of time on my own, which a lot of people find weird because I deal with stuff that doesn't seem like it's a one-person thing, but it gives me time to think and reflect, and it's been really, really good.
It's amazing what happens when you're not trying to force things. Yeah. And you just roll with the flow and just provision comes.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Like you and the guys that we work closely with all were super supportive too. Like what I sensed, it was interesting because, I mean, we've tried to be this kind of community, which really comes out of our faith and comes out of everything we're talking about. We've tried to be this community that if someone in our circle needs help for whatever reason, we try to be there. And it's usually not even something tangible. It's often intangible, but it matters. Yeah. And like when I was in the hospital, when I came out, I talked to a few of you guys and you're like, you know what? Like we're going to figure this year out. And if there's things that we need to do to keep you, afloat, we're going to do it. Yeah. And while I was able to pull my weight in the end of the day, I also knew that if something went down that was weird, that, I wouldn't be left alone, which is pretty huge, man. And that's something about the faith community that, you know, and it's not just the faith community. I think our, you know, in our small town, there's just a lot of people that are reliable people that are like in our corner.
Yeah. Well, that's like, that is the foundation of your and mine relationship.
Totally.
Like, I left high school, went and worked for you, really looked up to you. You left the trade and I started my own thing. But our whole relationship, our breakfasts over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been, it's always been about seeing a win for each other more so for ourselves.
Oh, man.
And I think that's why we have such a special friendship and working relationship, especially because, like, I feel like every time we're almost to the point where we're almost arguing that we want the other person to get more benefit than ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's life-giving.
It's great.
But there is also a security in it that, you know, and we have other people in our lives who
totally
share that value. And man, it's comforting when you have a community of people around you who, you know, you're going to be looked after. And if you need help,
well, dude, it was only a few years ago at this time of year, literally right at this time of year, when we lost one of our key buddies who was a key contractor here in town, and he died tragically on the job. And literally, was it Boxing Day? I think it was
Boxing Day.
Yeah. And man, that was a testament to, like, he had 4 little kids, and man, the community, like the contractor community, boy, oh boy. And there's a great example of those of us with, like, he was a man of faith, and those of us with faith led the charge. But I will tell you, man, there was people that definitely were not people of faith that came in alongside of us and gave us massive support in that season.
Oh, like, huge.
Like I was actually blown. I was humbled, man. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And they took, like, the trades community really stepped up and supported his family.
Oh, man.
And because what an awful, like, he had little kids, like,
and you know what, that whole process gave me a lot of, like, okay, like, if something does happen to me, because what we do is dangerous, and I don't focus on that a lot, but it's true. And it's one of those things where, you know, just seeing what happened when it really hit the fan was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I have another similar situation, because we always give away a free roof every year to somebody in need. And it's the most meaningful thing that we do as a crew. Yeah. And my guys usually donate their time and we pay for the material. And because, like, when your house is, your cabinets are old, who cares?
Yeah,
you can get by without cabinets. When your roof is failing and leaking, and you can't afford to fix it, there's just, typically most people lose their home at that point. Yeah. So it's a very meaningful thing we do. Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of inspired this thing where it was just like, you know what? Like, let's take it to the next level. I see the generosity in the roof giveaway and what that does for us as a company and our community every year. So let's take it to the next level, and let's find a family in our community who can't afford a home and is genuinely making all the efforts, and, you know, life is just getting in the way. And so we did a project where we put it out to the community. It was like a months-long process where we found a family who was genuinely in need, and life was just throwing them curveball. And it's funny because the community stepped up, and I think that same family got like 9 nominations with like 500,000 word essays. So it was a clear winner when it came time. So we're like, all right, we got our family, let's do this. And I kid you not, within 1 or 2 weeks, every trade and labor, like the house was just built within almost instantaneously, because the trades community, whether they were, like, a lot of them were our faith-based, you know, church-going tradespeople. Yeah.
But not nearly all.
Not even close. In fact, some of the most generous, and, like, people who didn't just do their trade, but, like, lined up everybody and went and sought materials. Totally. A lot of them weren't. Yeah. They just had that generous mindset.
Which is so awesome.
And I was just blown away by every level of the trades that were just, because that component, like, we had to fundraise money for land, and that was excruciating, especially because we didn't have charitable status. There was no write-offs. Yeah. And having, you know, we went to corporations, we went to churches, we tried to get donors, and really, honestly, a lot of that just didn't happen. A lot of it had to just be paid for. We did fundraise a bunch of it, but there wasn't a single trade that wasn't fully covered with ease. And it was
awesome.
It was so cool just
Yeah.
to see how the construction community just stepped up and was just like, yep. In fact, some of them, there were like people who were like, we want to do this component to the build. And we're like, oh, we already have someone. Oh, that sucks. If you ever do it again, or if they back out or they do it, like, let us know. And it's just like,
that's awesome.
Man, this is so good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I think that these are the things that like give us life.
Oh, yeah.
And I think looking forward, I have no idea, again, what this next year is going to look like. Like, we have some thoughts. We have some objectives. We have some strategic plans that we're in the process of developing, etc. We do know we want to keep moving forward. We want to keep growing. We want to keep, my hope is that our faith deepens, that our ability to show love deepens, that our, that as a community, we inspire each other and sharpen each other, and that we have a year that's monumental, man.
I believe it's going to be. I think for me personally, I've never been excited for a season of pivot and changes we're going through right now.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with this community, our Forge community, because we're getting involved and everyone's contributing to each other's companies at a certain level right now.
That's true.
And there's a synergy and a growth and an accountability, even just between us.
Yeah.
That is like, I think it's going to help just propel things forward for us in a meaningful way.
Yeah, and if you're listening and you are coming along for the ride, we'll tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll let you know when we fail. We'll let you know when we think we nailed it, and everything in between. And appreciating some of the comments coming in, appreciating that people are engaging, and hoping that everyone has an amazing Christmas. Like,
absolutely.
Take the time, take a breath, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and enjoy your family and the people you love. And hey, if you're going through a tough patch, if this season is a tough one for you, our hearts are with you.
Yeah.
And we're trusting that this next year there's going to be brighter days ahead for all of us.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you, Josh.
Okay. Thanks, man.